How's it going, Guardians? Shifty here, and it's been a little while since I've done a Legend Lost Sector guide. Now that we have a bit of a new sandbox and we have the Dawning event going on, I thought I'd do some updated guides for some of these Legend Lost sectors. My goal is to make them as easy and as accessible as possible to as many players as possible. The faster Lost sectors are some of the best ways to farm Essence of Dawning. Not only that, but if you're solo, you have a chance at getting exotics, and you can get some enhancement cores as well. So before I get into my loadout for this one, if you end up enjoying the video, make sure to hit that like button, and if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Alright, as for my subclass choice on all three characters, I went with Middle Tree Dawnblade on a Warlock with the Stag exotic, and on my Titan run I went with Top Tree Sentinel, and I'm using Helm of Saint 14. And then for my Hunter run I went with Bottom Tree Gunslinger, and I'm using Celestial Nighthawk. So now I want to move on to my weapons. By far the best anti-barrier weapon is the Arbalist, which is why I'm going to have that in my kinetic slot for all three classes. Then in my energy slot I have the Tyranny of Heaven bow, which I used on my Warlock run. However, for my Titan run I use Wolftone Draw, and for my Hunter run I use Imperial Needle. Then for my heavy weapon on my Warlock and Titan run I use the Negative Space Solar Sword, which gets a 50% damage boost due to Solar Burn. There are a number of other Solar Swords that you can use as well. However, on my Hunter run I decided to go with the Corsair's Wrath Solar Linear Fusion Rifle. Again, this is going to get that 50% damage boost. However, if you don't have this one, because I know it's a bit on the rarer side, you can always use something like Threaded Needle. And finally, for my armor mods, I'll just quickly show you each piece of armor, and if you need to see anything in more detail, just pause the video. My armor mods are roughly the same on all three classes, so I'm only going to show them to you once. The key difference is I will have particle deconstruction instead of passive guard on my Hunter. Anyway, that is it for my loadout in this one. There will be timestamps if you want to skip to a particular class. Otherwise, let's get into it. Alright, so in this Legend Lost sector, Arbalist is definitely going to be the workhorse here. So we're going to wait for the overload just like that. And I'm actually going to hop over here and just take the overload out with my sword. Since there are snowballs right now, you can go ahead and use those. If there aren't snowballs, you're going to have to avoid using those and just go ahead and use your weapons. I'm going to wait for those vandals to peek out there. I am not using particle deconstruction because I want to use passive guard for my sword. You can obviously swap that out if you want to. Right up here there's going to be a barrier champion that spawns. It's going to be right there. I'm going to get it to barrier immediately with Arbalist, pop that barrier, and take it out relatively easily. Now I want to take out any shanks that I can up top. Toss a grenade on the dregs down low. Got all those dregs down. You can see there's going to be an arch-shielded captain. No problem for Arbalist. We're going to have another heavy shank floating in. You're going to want to be careful for the Vandal Sniper in the distance. Like that. I'm going to wait till I heal a little bit, and there's an overload right there. This one can be a little bit buggy, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stun it like that. Since I have overload on my sword and bow, I'm going to head in. This should re-stun it. And that champion is down. Here you're going to have a bunch of wretches. You can just go ahead and rush past them and throw a grenade down like that. But make sure you're aware of the exploder shanks that show up. So there's going to be one wave. And then if you hop across, you're going to spawn a second wave. All you can do is hop back across the gap and take the second wave out. We're of course going to want to dodge any shanks like that. But what I was going to say is we're going to, of course, want to take out this overload. I didn't have an overload shot loaded in my bow that first time. I'm going to head up here with my sword. And while we head into the boss room, I'm going to let my sword recharge. There's going to be 4 wretches in here. Once you take out all 4 wretches is when the boss fight is going to start. So I'm going to go ahead and take out that wretch. And I'm going to put my super down. And I'm going to sword the boss. And when the boss is finally down, you can go for the chest. And just like that, that's a platinum completion of the Concealed Void Legend Lost sector during the Dawning event. This is currently one of the faster Legend Lost sectors. 3 minutes is a pretty good time, especially since you get 16 to 17 Essence of Dawning per run. You also get the chance at exotics as well if you're solo. Now I'm going to show you a full run on a Titan and Hunter as well. Alright, so this run shouldn't be all that different from my Warlock run. We want to, of course, wait for the overload over here. Just going to go ahead and use my sword. This time I won't use a snowball, just to kind of demonstrate what that looks like. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pop the shield on this heavy shank. And I knew that Vandal was going to pop out once I started fighting the shank. Now we want to go for this barrier. Again, Arbalest just makes it so simple. Not sure how I killed a drag way back there, but I'll take it. Alright, those dregs are cleared out. We'll wait for the captain to come back out. Maybe. There we go. Captain down. Instead of jumping across like I did on my Warlock run, I'm just going to go ahead and take out the Vandal in the distance right away. And since I'm using a sword, I'm going to go ahead and stun that overload. Hop right up here. And my sword should re-stun just like that. I'm going to skip past these wretches. And toss a grenade down on them. That was almost a close one with that Vandal in the distance. Either way, I'm going to spawn that second wave of Exploder Shanks. And now it's time for the overload. To start the boss fight, we're going to take out the wretches. And I'm going to pop my bubble. And when the boss is down, I'm going to refresh my shield and my bubble. And head on over to the chest. And there we are. That was a platinum completion on a Titan. Now all I have left to show you is a completion on a Hunter as well. Alright, here I am back on a Hunter. This time I'm going to be using a different bow than I did on my Titan, and a different bow than I used on my Warlock as well. And I'm also not going to be using a sword for this run. Instead, I'm going to be using double linear fusion rifles. I have a heavy solar linear fusion rifle, and I also have Arbalest. Arbalest is the one constant between all three runs. I also have particle deconstruction since I'm not using a sword. I got to that barrier champion before it could even use its barrier. I guess that's the power of particle deconstruction. Now we want to go for this arch-shielded captain. We'll try that again here. I'll just go ahead and finish it. Don't want to deal with the hiding. Take care of this vandal. And now the most challenging part of this run is probably going to be this overload, since it seems to unstun like immediately. But if you have a solar linear fusion rifle like that, it should be pretty quick either way. I don't have a grenade for these wretches this time. Probably not even necessary to take these out if you don't want to. I'm going to go ahead and stun that overload so it doesn't spam any shots at me while I'm taking out these shanks. Alright, time to take out the overload. Overload down, and now we can proceed to the boss fight. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and take out the wretches. I'm going to kind of stick on this side of the room and prepare for the boss. As it's spawning, I'm going to pop my golden gun, and I'm going to wait for it to move a little bit. And if you have to, you can back away and wait for a heal. So as you can see, for that, I popped my golden gun. Then I decided to go ahead and use my linear fusion rifle. And that was enough to take it out pretty quickly. The other challenge is going to be getting to the chest at the very end. You can always rush it like I did, which is fine. And if you die, it's no big deal. Anyway, that is a platinum completion of the Concealed Void Legend Lost Sector on all 3 classes during the Dawning. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, remember to like and subscribe. I just want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.